Hi, I'm Lee and I want to show you how you can make a really easy, no-sew, no-cost journal ready for your next challenge. Stay tuned and I'll show you how to make this one. And I've done this one out of an old file folder thingamajig. And all I've got is a cereal box or a biscuit box or something for a cover, and some strips of coffee dyed or tea dyed fabric which ties the pages in. Couldn't be simpler. Stay tuned and I'll show you how it's made. So I just want to say before I get started, I'm not putting any measurements, I'm not telling you any measurements, because this is all going to depend upon what you're going to make yours from. So you just cut your pages to fit the box, or cut the box to fit the pages, whichever works, you just do it that way. Now, Dephemerember's coming up soon, and if you're like me and you like to take part in challenges, what I like to do is actually make a journal for the challenge. And one of the easiest ways to do that, and you can do this in just a few minutes with no cost whatsoever. You don't need to go out and buy anything. You should be able to make it from stuff that you've got lying around. So it's a no-sew journal, and I reckon you can make one in about 15 minutes. So you can make it out of food packaging. This is another package that I have covered on one side with some gel prints and painted on the other. So that could be a cover. With Dephemerember this year, I think there's going to be 18 projects, so it doesn't need too many pages in it, and I like to actually make them out of stuff like this. I wouldn't go as far as to say they're your standard journal. Like, this is probably what you would use, but you can still use this stuff, but this is what I like to do. You can make it out of manila folders. You can use a masterboard as your cover if you wanted to, so you can make a masterboard or use a masterboard you've already got. What I'm going to use to make mine from today is this, which was a document folder thing, like a concertina box thing that was really old, and I pulled it apart because I loved the paper. It's not super heavy. And it's got tabs on it in some places, or nothing like the opposite of a tab really, isn't it? So I'm going to use that to be my pages. So if we got 18 and you get 4 pages out of one piece of folder, so that means we only need 5 pieces, because 5 fours are 20, and that'll give you enough. And you could even use one as your cover, but I think I'm going to use this as my cover today. Okay, so the cover is the important thing. So I'm going to show you how to make the cover. So that's that box. This is a biscuit box, or I don't know what was in it, something, protein bars or something. So as I said, it's no sew, so you will need a paper cutter, or you can use a ruler to tear your pages with, your paper down. You'll need a pair of scissors, and you'll need some things here. Well, I've just got some strips of cotton that's been tea dyed or coffee dyed, and that's what I'm going to use to bind my journal with. So the first thing to do is to just clean this cover up a bit, and I just want to get rid of some of these little bits that are poking out on the sides. So I'm just going to use my paper cutter to do that. I think, let me see how wide these are. Perfect. Folded in half, they're going to go perfectly in here, and I can trim it down a bit if I don't want it to be that big. Now what you need to do is to cut out a section. This is going to be your spine, so you just need to designate how wide you want your spine to be. So in this case, I'm going to go about as wide as this ruler. So I'm just going to mark that out. Might be easier on the other side, maybe not. So I just want to cut a recess out of that. So what we're trying to do, I'll just draw it. Here we go. I'll just draw it on here. So this is your cover. Alright, so front and back. So I'm going to cut a piece out. That's going to be the spine. So that's going to be left in there. That's going to be cut out. You'll fold there and you'll fold there. Now this one's already been folded in half, but it will not matter. So with this, I'm going to make my spine, let's go, so I only want it to be about 1 inch wide, but I want it to come down about 1.5 inches. So you can use greeting cards as well to do this. They work really well. I mean, you could use cardstock if you wanted to. So I want to cut out a piece about half the width of that ruler, so that's about right. I'm not really measuring properly, I'm just using my ruler to keep my line straight. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that out. Okay, so that's what that looks like now. So now I just need to fold along that line. Do that on both of them. That one's a bit crooked by the look of it, but it doesn't matter. A bit of a crunch there. So now that's my cover. Okay, so because this one has been folded previously, I was going to use it for something else, I am going to put a splint on that. I think that's going to be my inside cover. So I'll put a splint on the inside. If I wasn't using this particular piece, I wouldn't need to do this. So I need to cut here and here, just to strengthen that where the fold's been. I don't want the book to sort of collapse on itself. So that's just going to go in there. So it doesn't look like a plain piece of cardboard, I'm just going to put a bit of washi tape over that. So I'll glue that in. Okay, put that aside to dry, and we're just going to make these pages now. So it's just a matter of folding these in half and trimming off those bits at the end. See the cover. So we need to cut off about here and about there. Okay, so we'll use my trimmer. So that's my 5 pages cut there. I want these things, these cutouts here, to be on the outside. I'm not concerned about that there, that's fine. So I want those divots to be like that. I suppose it wouldn't matter if they went the other way. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to make sure my folds are nice and crisp. This one's right, perfect. Okay, so that's my 5 pages. What I need to do with them is to cut a slit or a little rebate in each one of these. The same, like the gap in the middle, so I need to cut out a bit here, but what's in the middle needs to be the same size as that spine. So I'm going to use that to mark where I need to cut to. So I'll just be cutting a sliver out of there. And that's where my ribbons are going to go through, my pieces of cloth, to tie around the spine and hold these pages in to the journal. Now you'd do exactly the same thing if you were going to use signatures and regular paper. So it was this. You might want to put in 2 or 3 signatures, so you'd just do this, same thing, mark it, and then you'd cut your divot out of your signature and you'd tie your signatures in. But I'm not using signatures, I'm just using these single pages. I could add some papers into the middle of them, but I don't want to. I like this to be nice and grungy and heavy and solid and sturdy, and so that it just feels lovely in your hand. You know, it's not going to flip-flop all over the place. It's reliable. Okay, so I'm just going to cut them. I'm just using my scissors and I'm just going to cut each one. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit over. So that's what you've got. I need to do that to all 5 of those pages. Now I first saw this idea on a channel called Jenny Bally. So that's where I first saw this idea, and she was making a journal out of greeting cards, used greeting cards. Okay, so I've got my 5 pages. Now I need 5 pieces of this cloth. You can use string, sari silk, whatever you like. I've just chosen to use this, which is calico, I believe, and it's been coffee dyed or tea dyed by the look of it. So these are going to go in here. So all I'm doing today is showing you this basic construction. So you need to do that with each of your pages. Now you can choose to have a torn edge on your pages if you want to. You can round the corners. You can cover the pages in something else if you don't like whatever it is you're making it from. Maybe you've made it from a biscuit box or something like that, so you want to cover up all the advertising and everything that's on it, which is what I did on this. I painted one side and I stuck gel prints to the other. Very simple. You can make it as ornate as you like, but this is no cost to me, this journal. I already had all this stuff, so now I'm going to just simply tie. That's the outside, isn't it? Tie. Remember what's the outside and what's the inside, and I'm going to tie my pages in. You can hang dangles off these ties. You can also put holes in your spine, this spine here of your pages, and you can thread your cloth through it if you wanted to. So each page goes in individually, they don't go inside each other. Okay, and that one goes here, gets tied on. And the beauty of this is you can pull the pages out again whenever you want to and work on them, or change them, or add more in. Just depends on how thick you want it to be or how thick it ends up. So I've got 2 in there already. I don't know how long it's taken to do this. I haven't been timing it, so the spine held me up a little bit. That normally wouldn't be a problem, but I just happened to choose a bad example. So this one, and you couldn't get much simpler than this, could you? So who's going to do Dephemerember this year? Let me know in the comments if you're going to do it. So you can tie these off at the bottom, at the top. I'm just putting mine in the middle. And the last one goes in. So this is why you wouldn't really want too many more pages in here. You could make your spine bigger if you wanted to put more in. But this is 5 and it's just working out perfectly. I haven't really been moving them around as I put them in. They just found their own little space there. The strips of cloth are about 1/2 inch wide, roughly. Just torn. I've left the threads on there. I like all those dangly bits. And that's what it looks like from the outside. Here's the inside. That one probably needs to be a little bit tighter. And that's as easy as it is. Now, as I said, you can put beads on these ties. I'll just show you what it looks like when you tie up at the top rather than in the middle. I'm going to pull that through. I actually think tying at the top might be better. You haven't got the big lump in the middle of the book, but it depends what you tie it with too, doesn't it? If it's something that's not too bulky, it won't matter. You can have each page set at a different level, each tie. Great, love it. And set this upside down, of course. So that's ready. I could just leave that as it is and just work straight on those pages. I probably will gesso them because that's got, on some of them, it's got a little bit of a coating or something on there, so it's slightly shiny. I'm not sure if that's coming across on the camera, but I want to get rid of that if that's the case. And I've got, because it's a file folder, I've got these little divots here. I like the way it sits flat. Couldn't get much simpler than that, could you? So I don't know how long that's taken. Let me have a look. Well, it's been filming for about half an hour, but a lot of that time was reinforcing that spine. But if you were using something that didn't have that fold in the middle of the spine, and you just, say for instance it was this one, this would be a huge big journal. Let me just this. So what have we got? That would have come down to 5 centimetres. So this is a masterboard that I knocked up ages ago. It's been sitting on the shelf. Another thing you could do is to, depending on which side you want to be the inside or the outside, just to glue that down that way. That might be a good idea. Spin those pages over, the covers. So. Of course, I didn't cut it straight. Can't cut anything straight. This just shows you how quickly it can be knocked up if you don't have to fiddle around with the spine, reinforcing it. There you go. There's a cover made. Glue that down. So you could cut it down from this stage to make it shorter if you wanted to. That's how easy it is. Alright. Your turn to make your own. Enjoy doing it. Let me know if you make one, if you had any problems, and how you overcame those problems. So have fun making your own journal. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you soon in another video. Stay creative. Hugs and cheers from Australia. Hooroo!